So you want to learn how to make updates to the Where We Work map. The main thing that you need to know to make changes is that this image of the map is not like most of the images you've probably worked with in the past. Um, you've probably worked with images that are a lot like this photograph here. They're called bitmaps, and they're made up of lots of little dots that we call pixels. And when you take a bitmap and make it larger, you can actually see that it's made up of lots of little dots, and at a large size they start to look a little blurry, or what we call pixelated. A vector graphic, which is the kind of graphic that makes up the map that we're going to work with, doesn't work like that. So again, these two circles look just alike, but this is what we call a bitmap, and those are files like PNG files, JPEGs, GIFs, most of the images files you've probably worked with in the past. And again, we're going to take this bitmap and enlarge it, and right away you can start to see all the little dots, or the pixels, and they start to make the shape look very different. Well, a vector graphic is actually made up of shapes, and the computer is then able to enlarge it as large as you want to go without any change in the shape at all, so it remains perfectly smooth. So now we're in the actual file of the map, and this is a vector image that's in the file format called SVG, or Scalable Vector Graphic. There's another common vector graphic format called EPS, but the kind that's going to be easiest for you to work with on your computer is an SVG. And aside from the fact that we could scale this map to any size without having that pixelation problem, the main reason why it's really good for our purposes are that, say we decided to start working in Brazil, rather than having to go in here and basically color every bit of Brazil by hand the way you would if Brazil was made up of lots of little pixels, you can just go in, click Brazil, and say I want it to be red. Or if you want to indicate something else with it, you could say purple. And you can do that all with one click. So that's what makes the vector graphic a really good choice for this map and really easy to work with. Okay, so hopefully I've convinced you that you want to keep our map in the vector format, because that's what really gives our map this really smooth, clean look, unlike the old map we used to have, which always looked a little muddy because someone had to go in and paint the countries individually, and inevitably, first of all, it takes a long time, but second of all, the borders between the countries have a tendency to get kind of blurry, and it doesn't have this crisp professional look. So if you're convinced, then I'm ready to tell you the catch, which is that you're going to need some new software to be able to work with a vector graphic. And the software that you're probably going to want is called Inkscape. It's pretty easy to use, and it's open source and, importantly, free, and you can download it at inkscape.org. So all you have to do is go to inkscape.org, click Download Now, and there you go. It's downloading to your computer. So just download it and install it, and I'll be right back to show you what to do. Okay, so how do you work with the SVG map? Well, first you're going to open the file SC Education World Map No Labels .svg, and it may take a little while because it's quite a large file. Then you're going to see all the countries, and again, each one is its own shape. And say you want to color a new country. Well, I find the easiest way to make sure that I match the color red is to click on a country that's already red, go down here to where it says F for fill, and you see that red. Just double click on the fill and copy this, which is the code for the fill, so I'm just doing Control C. And I can close this box and go to a new country. Say we're going to move into India, and I want to color that red. Well, you can see the fill is gray, but I just double click on fill again, and I paste that code that I copied right here, and boom, it's red. So that's very easy. And you can do the same thing if you need to change a red country gray. Now the one difficulty can be if you're trying to select a very small country, because there are so many countries here, there are a lot of little shapes. You can see everything is its own shape. So if you're trying to choose a very small country, like say we were going to work in Togo, if I click there, I've actually, you can see by this selection box, I've actually selected a much bigger shape, maybe the ocean or some other shape that's taking up all of this space. And I can keep clicking there, but it's never going to get me what I want. The trick is to hold down the Alt key while you click, and that actually selects all the different layers of shapes one after another. So I'm going to click off of there just to show you again. So now I'm holding down, I'm going to click on Togo again. I didn't get it, so I'm going to press Alt and I'm going to try again. And you see I got a different shape, but it still doesn't look like I've gotten Togo, so I'm still holding Alt. I'm going to try again. That time I got Benin, so I want to try again. And finally I got Togo. So that's the process that you need to go through when you're trying to click on a shape and you're having difficulty. Okay, so now I have the map looking exactly the way that I want it, and I'm ready to go put it in the file or in the document that we use to show where we work. But unfortunately, I can't put an SVG graphic into any of the other programs that I have on my computer, including Publisher. So I'm going to have to convert it to the bitmap format. So I'm going to select everything on the page or in the image, all of those shapes, by hitting Control A for select all. And I have to make sure that I've selected everything, because the next thing I'm going to do is go up to File and choose Export Bitmap. Okay, and it's saying that it wants to export it at 300 dots per inch, and that's pretty high resolution depending on what you're going to do with the graphic once you have it exported. If you want to use it for something really large, you can make the resolution much higher, or you can tell it that you want it to be wider or taller in terms of number of pixels. But 300 dots per inch is far more than you need for the publisher map that we use for our portfolio. So you just type in the name that you want down here. I've called this February 2000 map without labels, and you type the extension of the kind of file you want to save as. I like PNG graphics, but you could save it as a JPEG or a GIF or BMP if you wanted. Just type in what you want and then choose export. And I already have a file with that name, but I'm just going to overwrite it. Okay, now I'm in the publisher file portfolio.pub that contains the map along with the tables that show what kind of programming we have in each country. So it's very easy to update this map here with the new map that we just created in Inkscape. All you have to do is double click on the original map, and Publisher is going to pop up a box asking you what you want to replace that image with. I'm just going to choose that PNG that we just exported from Inkscape, and I'm going to choose Insert, and there, it's updated the map for us. Now you'll notice that the Inkscape version didn't have any country labels on it, but the Publisher version does. And the reason why I put the labels on in Publisher is because it makes it much easier to make any changes to the names that you need to make. For instance, if you start working in a country that requires you to move one of the names, the old names, a little bit to make room for the new name or something, any changes like that are easier to do in Publisher. So all you have to do to update the name of a new country where we're working is to choose an old name that's the size that you want, and move it over. And let's pretend again that we are going to work in Togo. All I need to do is type the name there and just put it right where it is, and we didn't export the version that had Togo colored, but that's the way you would add it to the map. And when you're all done making your changes, I always recommend that you go in, choose your images, choose compress pictures, and compress them to the print resolution that Publisher recommends, which is 200 dpi. That way you don't end up with a document that's huge. And then just create your PDF. There's another video on that if you don't know how to do it. And there you go. You're going to have your PDF map.